Hello YouTube, Hellhound here, back with yet another video. Another movie review, as a matter of fact. Today I'm going to look at the excellent 1981 action sci-fi film Escape from New York, directed by John freaking Carpenter. I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. John Carpenter is my favorite director of all time. I mean, with the possible exceptions of Ghosts of Mars and The Ward, which are some of his more recent work that you can't fault him for, the man can do no wrong. He just excels at everything he does, and Escape from New York is no exception. Back in high school, I actually wrote a report on John Carpenter. It was the assignment was write an essay on someone you idolize, a hero, and it was between him and Ronnie James Dio. And I went with John Carpenter, and for good reason. I mean, just look at his track record. We've got Halloween, obviously, that's a no-brainer. The Thing, The Fog, Assault on Precinct 13, sorry. Big Trouble in Little China, They Live. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. Everything the man touches turns to gold. And, you know, unlike somebody like Wes Craven, who is pretty much hit or miss, I mean, don't get me wrong, Craven's a great director, too. Easily one of my favorites, in my top 10. But he's had a lot of, well, he hasn't had a perfect track record like Carpenter has. You know, he's got a lot of bad films under his name. Carpenter only has the more recent ones, but, you know, even he's said that he's lost his mojo a little bit, and, you know, the man's getting old. I mean, you know, it just happens, and you can't fault him for it. But hey, those movies are still pretty entertaining. But anyway, let's move on. Escape from New York. This is a very, very great movie. I mean, definitely one of my favorite actions. Well, let's just dig right in. Let's get to the premise. Basically, it was made in 1981, but it takes place in the future. 1996, I believe, is the year which just takes place. 96 or 97. Anyway, basically what happened was, in 1988, they made New York City into a maximum security prison. So pretty much anybody who commits a crime is taken there, with no way out. You know, there is no, you know, no parole or anything in this prison. There are no guards. It's just a nasty, desolate wasteland. Just New York City has just become a terrible, awful place, as you can kind of see in the poster. You know, it's a dystopian future, as I said. Very dark, very grim. You know, it's just a cesspool of crime, even worse than it was before it became a prison, I might add, you know, back in the 80s. And so, yeah, all the criminals taken there, no guards, the United States police force surrounded it, they have it surrounded, there's a big wall around it, you know, there's just all the criminals there, and there's the hell they've created. It's not really like a prison, per se, it's just a, you know, city of just terrible, nasty, filthy, crime-ridden streets, and you can probably tell this is unscripted. I'm just kind of talking, which I probably should have wrote something down first, but that's all right. Anyway, what happens is the president, played by Donald Pleasance, one of my favorite actors, you know, from Halloween, and Ernst Stavro Blofeld from You Only Live Twice, which is one of my favorite James Bond movies. Donald Pleasance is always great. Always liked him. He plays the president in this movie. His plane is hijacked. It crashes in New York City, the prison, and he's taken hostage by the Duke, played by Isaac Hayes. Some of you may know him as the voice of Chef from the awesome, hilarious cartoon South Park. Yeah, he pretty much runs the city now. He pretty much runs the prison that is New York City, the Big Apple. He's like the crime lord, number one, you know, the Duke. But anyway, so yeah, he takes the president hostage, and you know, several attempts are made to recover the president, with, you know, by armed forces led by Bob Houck, played by Lee Van Cleef, who's best known. You know, he was in a lot of westerns back in the day. He's always been one of my favorite western actors. He always played a great villain, but here he's actually a good guy. And so Hulk fails to get the president because the crazies, as they're called, the ones led the Duke's men. They threaten to kill the president if the forces come any closer. So Hulk needs somebody to go in quietly. So he and Tom Atkins' character. Tom Atkins is another favorite actor of mine. For more info about how much I adore his acting skills and performance and so many great movies. See my Night of the Creeps review. I go on and on about how awesome Tom Atkins is. He doesn't play a big part in this movie. He's just kind of there, but his presence is felt, and he's just cool no matter what. But anyway, they need somebody to go in quietly, retrieve the president, sneak in, infiltrate, kick ass and take names. And so they employ Snake Plissken, played by Kurt Russell. And now, as awesome as this movie is, it's very dramatic. It's very topical, very, it's very dreary and very moody. It's just got boatloads of atmosphere, just like all John Carpenter's movies. Very dreary. As awesome as that is, what really makes this movie great is the character Snake Plissken, played by Kurt freaking Russell. He's just awesome. I mean, gosh, he might be the biggest badass in movie history. Not only is he an action hero, he's just so cool. Like, everything he does, everything he says, he just oozes, cool. Gosh, I'd love to see him and Ash Williams from the Evil Dead trilogy team up. That would be cool. That would be something. But this takes place in an alternate reality, so that would never work. But oh well. But yeah, Snake Plissken just, oh my gosh, he's just awesome. I just can't get enough of this character, and he's what really sets this movie apart. I mean, as great as the atmosphere is, the grim, futuristic, dystopian wasteland that is New York City's become, that setting, Snake Plissken's really what makes the movie great. And he's joined by other great cast members as well. As I already said, Van Cleef, Tom Atkins, Adrienne Barbeau, Isaac Hayes as the Duke, who's the main villain. He doesn't really have much to work with. He's kind of one-dimensional, but he's still a great villain. And you can tell he's very menacing, very intimidating. As I say, he doesn't really do much, but just you can just tell that he means business. We also have Ernest Borgnine as a cab driver. He's really fun to watch. He's kind of the comic relief of the movie. Pretty much the only happy character in the whole thing. The whole thing's just a dreary, very depressing mess. That's the tone of the movie. I mean, but also Harry Dean Stanton as Snake's former cohort and reluctant ally. He betrayed Snake back in the day before all this stuff happened. Now they constantly talk about a federal robbery committed by Snake, and that's why he's in the prison to begin with. He was going to be sent there as a prisoner, but then they made this deal with him to rescue the president. And he received a full pardon for all the crimes he committed. He was a war hero. He was special ops, but then he saw the corruption. He saw what the country was starting to become, and he turned on him. So that's why he committed that federal robbery. And they constantly reference it, and it's actually a deleted scene, which I think should have been kept in the movie because it kind of introduces the Snake character. Or they should at least show it in flashbacks, because he just don't. That's my only complaint. That's my only complaint. Snake just kind of shows up, and it feels like we're missing something. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still cool as hell, and maybe it does make him a little more mysterious since that scene was left out. So it kind of depends on how you look at it. Another thing I would have liked is for the New York City setting to have shown through a little more. I mean, the poster, it shows the Statue of Liberty, which is pretty much destroyed, but that's nowhere in the movie. I hear that John Carpenter even protested against having that on the cover, knowing it wasn't in the film, but it makes for a cool poster. It could have just been any old city, really. I would appreciate a little more of a New York feel. Those are my only two complaints. It's still a great movie, easily a 9 out of 10, and one of my favorites. Definitely one of John Carpenter's best work. But as I was saying, it would have been nice to let that robbery scene in. It is a deleted scene on the special edition DVD, which is, if you do get this movie, you're going to want to get this one. I actually have both here. But, yeah, it's a 2-disc, and it has that deleted scene that I mentioned, the federal robbery. It has a few commentaries. It's just loaded with features. There's featurettes, surround sound audio, liner notes, making of gallery. Oh, it also comes with this comic book, which is the first issue of Snake Plissken Chronicles, which is a good read if you want to see more of Snake Plissken and his adventures. He's such a cool character. I just can't get enough of him. It's too bad they didn't make more movies of him. There was one sequel, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I guess I forgot to mention that they injected these 2 capsules into his neck, and they're dissolving, and they're going to release a deadly virus that'll kill him instantly. Well, actually, he's going to explode and destroy his arteries, and then, which will, give him about probably 5 seconds to live, if that. So he kind of has to complete the mission. He can't just take the plane and fly off to Canada or something. He has to go and land in the World Trade Center, infiltrate, and fight off the crazies led by the evil Duke. But yeah, he gets help along the way, and he just kicks all kinds of ass. He's just such a cool freaking character. I can't stress that enough. Did I mention that yet? He's just awesome. But yeah, definitely check this movie out if you haven't seen it yet. I highly recommend it. And if you're gonna buy it, you're gonna want to get the special edition DVD, the 2-disc with the all these features and the deleted robbery scene, which I think should have been left in the movie and the comic book as well. But yeah, Kurt Russell really sells this movie as the awesome character Snake Plissken. It was one of his first breakthrough roles. He'd only previously been in kids movies, a lot of Disney films. He started out as a child actor. They didn't think he could pull this off, but boy, he sure did. And then he became a Carpenter favorite. He later appeared in Big Trouble in Little China and the Thing remake, and also the sequel, Escape from L.A. I was going to talk about this movie at the end of this review, like I usually do. Usually I review a movie, then talk about the sequels after. But since there's only 2 movies in the series, I'll go ahead and save this for a separate review, and that's going to be my next video. So stay tuned for my review of Escape from L.A. next, right after this. But yeah, anything you'd like to add about Escape from New York? You always have to see it for yourself. Highly recommend it. Very dreary, very grim atmosphere, very depressing mood, but very badass lead character too, who really gets you rooting for him and gets you pumped to see him succeed. And the boy does he. He kicks all kinds of ass. But yeah, I think that about sums it up. Escape from New York, a 9 out of 10. Great movie from 1981, and one of John Carpenter's best. I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my show, and stay tuned for my review of Escape from L.A. coming soon. All right, rock on.